Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Trackside Broadcasting. I hope everyone's had a great week so far, and now it's time to finish it off with some great racing action here tonight. As always, before we get underway, we'd like to thank the Tanzo Racing Group for letting us bring you all the action this season, and to our sponsors, Valhalla Liveries and us here at Trackside Broadcasting. Also, please make sure to share the YouTube link to friends and family so more people come along and support your favourite drivers. So now we're on race 2 of 8 tonight. We're here at Suzuka in Japan. We had a really exciting first race of the season last week. I'm really looking forward to seeing another one tonight. But before we begin, joining me in the booth, as always, will be my right-hand man in broadcasting. So let's bring him in here with me and say our hellos. Good evening, guys. How are we today?
Well, good evening, Jimmy, or should I say, konnichiwa, as we are in Japan today. Arigato for having me here with you as always. See, I'm a lover of these languages, Jim. I have to get a little bit on each one that we do. You know that. But no, mate, I'm doing really, really good today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Suzuka, what's your thoughts? I mean, absolute classic track.
Well, I'll tell you, it's an absolutely brilliant track, Jim. It's one that I've come up with over the years with F1. Like everybody knows, I'm a huge lover of the F1. Suzuka was a massively standout track for me back when it was on the grids, and I'm so glad it's coming back. But no, it's a brilliant track, James. It's a long track. It's windy. It's fast. There's not a lot of forgiveness if you are going to go off too wide. It should be a brilliant race. We had a great opener at Laguna Seca last week. Brilliant track that was. We're at another brilliant track this week, mate. What's your thoughts on it though?
I mean, yeah, I absolutely love it. It's just so. Uh, sorry, just hearing. It's got a message in the YouTube chat. Audio's a little low. We'll try and get that turned up as soon as we can. But no, it's yeah, it's just it is an absolute classic. It's so technical, but it's so fun, so windy, and it's going to be one of the longest tracks we've got on the calendar this season. So it should be quite interesting for those drivers. But
No, it really should.
before we waffle on too much about the tracks and everything, Gaz, would you like to remind everyone how it all works here in TRG this season?
Yeah, a little bit of the rules and regs, just a little bit of a breakdown for everybody again. For anybody who's new joining us tonight, anybody that's been with us previously and knows how this works, you can pretty much zone me out for the next 20, 30 seconds. But basically, this is an 8 week series. We're on race two of eight. Remember, we're at Suzuka tonight in Japan. Each weekend will open with 30-minute practice. Now, we've already done that. We've got that out of the way. As you can see in the background, we're up to qualifying. Qualifying, 10 minutes alone 15 minutes alone. Got about a maximum of 3 laps to set your time. After qualifying, have a tiny little break and then a standing start. 5 lights, go out, and away we go. We are on for 2 races again this week. Our first race, remember, 20-minute race, little 5 minute break, and then it's a complete reverse grid for the second race, which is 25 minutes long. We do have an endurance race this season, 45 minutes straight showdown through to the end, but that's not tonight, and that will be coming up very, very soon in the next couple of weeks. But Jimmy, now that we've got all the rules and the regs and all the boring bits out the way for everybody, shall we jump down to track and have a little look and see what some of these guys are up to? We've got a few
Yeah,
of
let's
them
take a
out there
little
at
look.
the moment. See what times they've set.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Veazey is leading the way at the moment, followed by Paul Brown and Alex Cubulus in the pros, and then leading the top three in ours, we have Robert Barber, Phil Giles, and Orjan Jasund. So yeah, I mean, double race weekends for these guys. I do like it. Do like the format of a double race weekend. Just makes it really interesting for those drivers. Reverse grid on that second one just makes it so much more interesting, especially with these really long laps as well. I mean, it's really going to favour like the more technical minded drivers of how they get those overtakes done and get their way up to the front. Because the
Well,
longer the track, the less laps you really have to get around, and yeah,
no,
should be.
it was just something I was just actually looking at there, Jim. So, like Laguna Seca, we was lapping about 134 last week. We're up to about two minutes, 2 minutes 20 seconds for these laps for these guys out here in these Toyotas. That is not going to be a lot of laps to get everything done, really, is it?
No, we're shy of a minute longer around here per lap, and I mean, there is less laps, but it's still the same amount of racing. So I don't know. I think it should be good because I mean, it's got some really long straights. It's got plenty of overtaking zones, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the drivers can handle it because it is very different for this kind of car to drive around a track like this. Usually, the slower cars usually go to the smaller tracks. So I think it's interesting to bring them to the longer tracks here.
No, I've got to agree with you. It's really interesting seeing a car like the 86 out here on a track like Suzuka being so long. Like I said, Laguna Seca last week, that was quite a bit shorter. It was very, very fast for most of that track for these cars. It's going to be an interesting one today, Jimmy. I think we're going to have about 13 people out on track tonight with us when they all come out. We've only got about 9 out at the moment, as you guys can see on your timing boards. We've got just over 5 minutes to go. So we'll have to see how these guys do set out. We'll get some times up very shortly and confirm on that for you at the end. But no, it'd be a really good one, like you said as well, Jim. I'm a big fan of the reverse race with the complete the reverse race. Sorry, the reverse grid on the second race that we have straight after the first one. It really makes some interesting driving. I'd like to remind you as well, Jack Veazey and Harry Gaylor last week won the first race and then came from 12th and 11th, came back to win the second race as well. Really does show what kind of drivers we've got on board with us this season.
Yeah, he's a really strong driver. He had a really strong first two races there of well, first race weekend, I should say. And yeah, but I mean, what's really interesting is just how close the skill gap is for the rest of the drivers. I mean, not to say that they aren't quick, but they are very quick. But they were all battling that entire time, weren't they? It was so close between everyone. And besides that little incident at the start, I believe, of the first race that kind of spread it out a little bit. It was just so close between everyone. Hopefully we should get some really good battles going on here, especially
No, we
getting that
really
slipstream
should.
down the back straight and the start finish straight. I think it would be nice to
No,
see some drivers going too wide throughout the whole race.
no, that's what you said. It's one of them tracks, and you just picked up on it there as well. For as twisty and as turny as this track is, because let's be honest, it is as well. And again, it's one of the only tracks really with a proper little crossover point there, Jim. We do go over the top of ourselves at one point, which is pretty much what everyone knows this track for. But you have got the straights in there where you can get some serious speed and try and help you out a little bit if you're just behind that car in front of you, really. No, it should be a really good one, Jim. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got less than 5 minutes of qualifying to go. We've got 10 drivers currently trying to set some times out there. It's going to be a good one. I'm really looking forward to seeing where people are going to place compared to where they can place last week at Laguna because it's such a different kind of track.
Yeah, I think it's going to really test the skills of the driver going between two such different tracks. And like you said, yeah, the cars are going pretty quick down the straights. They're hitting the dizziest heights of 130 miles an hour. So it's not the fastest cars in the world, but they're still very fast. And especially when you've got to race other people and you're considering like where everyone is on track and what moves you're going to do and here and where, and it doesn't give you a lot of time down those straights to consider when and where to make the moves. So
No, absolutely,
it
mate,
should be.
absolutely. It was. I reckon it's going to be a really good one tonight. To be fair, like you said, there's a little bit of a longer lap. We're hopefully going to see some fighting like we did last week as well, because some of these guys didn't leave each other alone last week. I tell you what, Jimmy, there's like we're saying, it's a bit slower than what we saw at Laguna Seca last week. Suzuka though is a big track for the bikes, and you know how quick those little crotch rockets are. So
I've
you
not heard
imagine
that
having
term in a long time.
yeah, just throwing it back, bringing out my age there. But no, imagine some bikes absolutely flying down there.
I know. I need to catch a MotoGP at some point because I believe the season has started again, so I need to have a look at that because it's been a little while. But those things look those crazy. How close everyone's sort of fighting between each other.
No, definitely, but it's one of them as well. Like, and I think I'd be even more terrified on a bike than I would be in a car. But track limits, so they're very tight out there for these
Oh.
guys. And
Speaking of
talking of
which,
track limits, there you go, cursing the commentator again. Do apologise about that, Joseph. But no, you can see it as well, especially here. If you go off wide or you're fighting with someone, you haven't really got a lot of place to go. You're going to be in a wall fairly quickly.
yeah, and there's a lot of corners as well for a long track as well. There's 18 corners that they've got to get through, and they're all different types of corners. You've got these like uphill, downhill, 90 degrees. You've got hairpins. You got sweeping corners, you got tight corners, you got S curves, you got literally everything going on in this track. And yeah, it's really going to test those drivers out there this evening.
Tell you what though, Jim, you just brought it up there a second ago. The S's on here, those S curves, they are horrible little series of left, right, lefts. Really
That's what we're
do,
looking at
do
the moment on
really
board.
do put you to the test, don't they? And if you have if you have a slow one round there, or you mess up round there, that is really going to impact the rest of your lap, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's what this track is iconic for. It's two things really. So it's one of the only tracks that. Oh, seeing a little off track again. I think he might be pulling over for the end of his stint.
I think it might be, but no,
But
he's carrying on. He's carrying on as well, Robert Barber.
but no, it's there's two things this track's known for, and it's those S curves, so iconic. But then also because of the elevation and how the track works, it's kind of laid out like a figure of eight, and it crosses over itself about at the halfway point. There we go. You can see a picture of it there. You can see if you look on the
Yeah, you can see on
sort
the
of on the
track
left
map
hand
there
side
that's
of it,
on
you
the
can see
screen.
them. Yeah, you can see it crosses over. There's a bridge that goes over from one side to the other. So you don't really see that very often in racing. So that's quite a little interesting feature about the track.
Yeah, it's one of the very few actual, like I'd say, proper tracks out there around the world, Jim, that has a little bridge part there. You don't get it very often, but Suzuka's had it. I can't remember exactly when they put it in, but it's been a huge key point. And again, it was one of those ones. That's how I remembered that it's Suzuka. Sat down on a Sunday morning at whatever time it was. Annoyed my dad to watch F1 when I was a kid, and yeah, you see the bridge, and I immediately know where we were straight away. It's really one of those iconic points of the tracks, and a lot of tracks have got those iconic bits, and I think that's one of them there for Suzuka here. But Jimmy, we've got less than 30 seconds to go of qualifying before we see how these guys line up ready for our first 20-minute race of of tonight. I am looking forward to it though. Great track.
Yeah, and just to remind everyone that's watching at home, if there's anyone you'd like to root for on track, then feel free to put it in the YouTube comments, and we'll give them a shout out during the race.
Yeah, please, guys, please do let us know, and we'll make sure to check in with absolutely everybody while we're out there anyway.
Yep. So the
What?
drivers are just finishing up now, and then we'll quickly go through the scoreboard and we'll tell it. We'll give the positions from first to last quickly before the drivers line up on the grid. So Gaz, take it away.
There you go. So starting at the top, started top last week. We have Jack Veazey in P1, followed by Andrea Maglai in P2, Lee Martin in P3. That's your podium spots, top of the board at the moment. Paul Brown is following them in P4, followed by Alex Tubulus. Robert Barber, sixth out on track, but he's first in class for the AMs. Remember, blue for the pros and yellow for the AMs, guys. Phil Giles, seventh on track, P2 for the AMs, and Orjan Yazan is P8, P3 for the AMs, followed by Rick Wishon in P9, Joseph Lopez in P10, John Johnson in P11, Casper Roost in P12, and Dinand Bronze in P13.
So we've got a
No,
slight change for this race, just quickly as well. We are doing a rolling start on this one, so we're starting halfway around the track. Gives the drivers a little bit of time to warm up the tyres before they get underway. So shout-outs wise, Marshmallow 2 on 2. Let's go, Andrea. Thoroughly enjoyed his interview last week. Yeah, it was a great interview from him, and yeah, he seemed like such a great bloke. And Fluky, evening fellas. Good evening as well, Fluky. Shout out to the legend himself, John Johnston.
good evening, Fluky, and good evening, Marshmallow. Good to have you back with us again this evening, my mate. You never know, we might be speaking to Andrea again at the end of the race if he, the end of the evening, if he sticks it out at the top of the leaderboard again. We'll have to find out. But no, quite an interesting one. The rolling start. We're pretty used to the lights out and away we go, Jimmy. I'm wondering what the change is. We'll have to see if our marshal on the sidelines can let us know at some point. But no, rolling start's always good. Gives them a little bit more time to get some heat into the tires.
Yeah, I mean it keeps them on their toes. I guess they got to practice something a little bit different. And I mean, turn one is such a fast flowing right-hander that when you got those cold tires, it is a bit treacherous. So getting a little bit of extra heat, it's not going to do you. Yeah, it's going to be a good thing for those people. But yeah, it's nice to see different people mixed up on that board as well. Seeing Robert Barber. so high up this time round. Oyan Yassend and yeah, Phil Giles. I think Phil did quite well last week, so nice to see him back on the podium. And then yeah, I mean those pros. Jack VZ, he was so quick last week.
No, it was really
So,
good. It was a good evening of racing last week, Jimmy. But we're let's get on with this week, shall we? Like I said, Suzuka, they're having a rolling start this week. They're still out behind the safety car at the moment. That should peel in a moment's time. Then it's
yeah,
hit the line and away we go.
yeah, they're just coming up to the chicane now. After that, it's a slight right-hand turn, and they will be going into the start-finish straight. As soon as the leader crosses that start-finish line, that's when they will be underway. So you should see
Yep.
them start to line up side by side. The safety car just popping into the pit lane now, and then we're going to get the all good from the
Just
lights, and then as soon as the drivers cross the line, that is, oh, they might be going a little bit early actually there, and they are off and on the way.
Green
So
there you
Jack
go.
Veazey leading with Andrea just behind him. No one's really changed positions just yet, but going into the first corner, we might see some moves being made around here.
Seen a few of the cars side by side at the minute behind the first 4 cars out in front there, Jim. So we should see some changes anytime. Rick Wilson just jumping on Joseph Lopez at the minute for P9, drops Joseph down to P10, P4 in the standings tonight for the AMs. Everyone's kept it clean though at the start. It's not something you usually see with these kind of races. There's usually a little bit of chaos. I've seen in the past with some rolling starts with some other series that we've done there, Jim. But no, it's pretty clean start from everybody right there.
Yeah, really clean. I mean, Alex Cubulus immediately going too wide in those first turns. He does love a battle, that guy. The entire last week, I don't think he left anyone alone if they were near him, and I believe he's doing the same this week already. Robert Barber as well. Phil Giles going side by side. I think Phil just backed out there just before that really tricky turn and trying to carry as much speed as they can out of there and then into the hairpin coming up. That's where it'd be a really good place to get the moves done. Getting that inside line is going to be really good here to get that clean run out. But Phil Giles goes deep, carries more speed around the outside, gets the move done on Robert Barber and gets the place done. And I believe Oyand battling with Rick Wishon there as well gets the place done as well.
There you go. Phil Giles coming round there, Jimmy, taking P1 in the AMs at the moment, taking that off of Robert Barber, who's putting down to a 7th on track P2 in class at the minute. That was a nice little move there from Phil Giles. Kept to that one. Didn't think he was going to go for it as soon as he did, but he got himself nicely around Mr. Robert Barber in front of him and took P1 off of him.
Yeah, making the move around the outside is tricky, but if you could pull it off, I mean, well done. You see them, look at them there, bump drafting each other. Rick pushing Oyan to catch up to the back of the pack. I mean, you've got to do it in tracks like this. You need to work together sometimes. If the gaps start to pull away, like we're seeing here, they are starting to spread out a bit with those early battles through that first lap. You slow each other down, and then you do lose a bit of time. Look at Alex. I told you, he loves going
There
side
you
by
go.
side. He loves a good battle, and
Side
yeah,
by side with Phil Giles, letting Robert Barber get up side by side with Phil now as well. Will Robert take his position back on track? Does temporarily. Will he keep it as he gets down to the end of the straight though, Jim? Got a Cubulus in front of him. He's not sitting in his draft. Is he going to try and take Alex Cubulus as well? The pro sitting in front of him. He's on the inside of the first corner here. Has he got it? I think he's got it, Jim. That is
he has
beautiful
as
from
well.
Robert
That
Barber.
inside
That is.
turn.
Phil Giles slips himself through as well there. Absolute brilliant drive from the pair of them right there. Will Rick Wilson get a move on Alex Cubulus? Will he drop down even more? That was a great little move from the pair of them there.
Yeah, as Oyan and Rick are battling behind. Oh, taking a lot of curve there. I think that's going to slow him down. And then, yeah, Rick just loses that position, just loses a bit of pace behind them. And yeah, that inside line on that turn one, that amount of camber really pulls that car through the corner, and you can get so much more speed coming out of it. I think that's definitely the move to do on that turn, is to go on that inside line. Oyan really forcing his way into there and just gets that move done, gets in front of him. And I think at this point, they've got such a big gap to Alex in the group in front that they're going to have to work together if they want to catch up. Otherwise, they're just going to be battling and they're just going to let Phil and Robert get away. Phil going very deep there. I don't think he's trying to do the same move as I think he did on the lap before, but just couldn't
Didn't
quite
work
make
there
it
for
stick.
him. No, it didn't work for him at all there. It didn't work twice. Lightning definitely didn't hit twice in a row for him there in consecutive laps. But no, Robert Barber taking back the P1, P5 out on track for the AMs at the moment with Alex Kubulus in P6, sitting between him and Phil Giles, who's in back down to P2 in the AMs at the moment. Orjan Yassen is in P3, followed by Rick Wishon, who's trying to get himself in the mix there as well. Joseph Lopez down in P10 with Casper Roost, Dinan Bronze, and John Johnson bringing it up at the back for the moment. Not a huge amount of time they've got to make up their gym, those guys at the back, but they start to get themselves up with that pack in front of them. They might be able to start gaining some positions there.
Yeah, I think they really are. I mean, I think the smart move here is I think Robert's not going to leave Alex alone. Alex isn't going to leave Robert alone. I think they're going to have to choose to work together. They've got 4.5 seconds, and there's still 15 minutes left of the race. If they just start bump drafting each other down the straights, they'll be able to catch up no problem and start fighting for those lead positions. But they are going to have to work together. But I don't know if that's in their nature. I think no one really wants to be the pusher. I think they want to be the ones that's being pushed. They want to have that lead position going into the race.
No, but I tell you something though. If I'm Robert Barber, I'm sitting quite nicely. I'm in P1. I've got a nice little. I'm in the middle of a pro sandwich, you can say, with Lee Martin in front of him and Alex Jubilus behind him. My brain there would think Alex Jubilus needs to catch up to the rest of the pros. It would be in his best interest to get behind Robert Barber and maybe give him a little push along. And if Phil Giles feels like he wants to get involved too, go for it because that would really help the three of them catch up the
Oh,
four cars in
just
front.
tipping his nose on the inside. That was very risky. I don't think he was quite alongside just enough there. He was trying to get the move in there, and that could have easily been a big accident. But no, they all kind of held it together. I think Alex is really looking to fight and get in front, isn't he? I don't think he wants to work together. He wants to have that battle.
No, absolutely not. Like I said, I think he's going to try and get himself as close as he can up to the four other pros in front of Robert Barber here. But at the same time, you don't want to spend too long fighting. I wouldn't say an unnecessary fight, but he's fighting an am in front of him who's sitting in P1. Like I said, if I'm Robert Barber, I'm going to be sitting very happy at the moment with Cubula sitting behind me in my P2 and Phil Giles
Yeah, he's
down
got
in
that
seventh
buffer.
at the moment. Exactly, and you're going to want to keep that buffer, but Cubulus isn't going to want to keep that. He's going to want to get himself up there. There's already a nearly 6 second lead between fifth and fourth between Rob Barber and Lee Martin. We are what 3 laps in, over 5 minutes in. We're 6.5 minutes into this race yet. There's not all the laps in the world to do this.
No, I think like it's a foolish decision from Alex to be fighting as hard as he is, but then I think at the same point, if he thinks he's got more pace and he thinks he can catch up on his own, then maybe it is.
Sorry, just look at this. You got Phil Giles and Rob Barber just side by side as they were going down there. There was a little bit of a swap between them on the leaderboards, but Barber's kept it at the moment. Cubulus has got himself through up into P5 now with a just over 6 second gap to Lee Martin in P4 in front of him. But no, it's really good, Jim, isn't it? Like we're seeing some really good hard, some really good fair racing. We saw it last week at Laguna Seca, and we're seeing it again so far today. Such a good thing to see.
Yeah, I mean they were battled really hard, and we're seeing it here as well. They love going side by side. There's a little bit of trading paint every now and again, but that's to be expected with
Hey,
with these sports cars.
trading paint is absolutely fine. If anything, and I'm sure the chat will agree with me. Tell me if I'm wrong here. I actively encourage it because it just gives you that little bit more action, that little bit more thrill out on track, especially for these drivers as well. If you've been tooting around on your own, all of a sudden you get a little chance to trade some paint with someone, Jim. That's going to it's going to bring the mood up a little bit. I know that. Let me know, chat, if I'm wrong by saying that. But no, I encourage it. But it's so good to see clean, fresh driving out on track, hard racing, but keeping it fair. No one spinning out or anything like that. No major instances going on. It's like I said at the start, we're so used to seeing these races starting absolute carnage sometimes. It is brilliant to see everybody, all 13, still out on track.
Yeah, I mean they got a really good group at the moment. Really, yeah, really fair battling, really good battling hard as well, and it's just phenomenal. But when it's seeing now Alex Kubulus starting to pull away from Robert Barber, see he definitely thinks, well, he definitely thought he had that pace to pull away, and he's definitely showing it at the moment. And
No, well, he definitely does, Jim. I have to agree with you there because he's taken off now. He's got what just over a second on Robert Barber. But again, on Robert Barber, I'm absolutely fine with what's going out on track at the minute. I've got myself yet another buffer. I've got Rick Wishon down in P7th. P6 on for the pros at the moment, so he's going to try and get himself up there as well. And he's keeping now a nice little buffer between me and Phil Giles. Keeping that car in between for Robert Barber, I think, is absolutely key, because when Giles gets up next to him, he really does push him quite hard. So again, if I was Barber, I'd be absolutely ecstatic with Rich Wishon in between.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect opportunity for him to kind of get that lead if he can hold off Rick. I mean, Rick being a pro, I think he's going to want to get his way further ahead. But I think the issue here for Alex is that as well, they've got Lee Martin, Paul Brown, Andrea, and Jack
Oh, there
all
you go.
in a little train together. Oh, they're going to fight hard, aren't they?
A
I mean,
little bit of trading paints there for a second. We did
as you
say a
mentioned.
second ago, but it looked like Phil Giles had got himself ahead just for the moment, and then Rob Barker and Wishon, who's just made the move, go up now above Rob Barber, has pushed themselves back ahead. There's Phil Giles, you can see with the monster scratch on top of his car
Oh,
there, the
that's
monster
so
logo.
close on that one. Yeah,
So
well
that's
held, well held at the front there.
oh,
Oh,
and
Robert
we
Barber
joined back,
going
and Rob
round.
Barber's spinning around.
That was a good
Oh
rejoin
dear.
there as well. I did I respect that. Let's see what happened to him then. So we got Orjan on the inside, and I think Orjan tracks out, and Robert Barber just comes in a little bit. I think it's a
Oh.
hard corner to go side by side on because of the way that it works. And
Well, we know the stewards will be having a little look at that one. We'll have to see if anything does come up that one. But that has now Robert Barber, who's leading the way pretty much for the AMs since the start of this race 10.5 minutes ago, Jim. Down into P12 at the moment, right near the back of the pack. That is not going to be great for him.
no, it will not. But he's definitely got the pace, so I mean, he should be able to start fighting and work his way back up to the rest of the group because he wasn't too far behind. 5, 6 seconds, I think, when everyone's battling as close as they are, because the three in front of him are all battling together, they'll probably start slowing each other down a little bit, and that'll give him time to catch up to the group.
Well, let's hope it does for Rob and John Johnson's sake there at the back of the pack. Let's get them two back into the race here, because that was some really good driving, really good watching some of that racing with Rob Barber, Phil Giles, Rick Wishon, and Alex Cubulus as we were going around for the first 11 minutes of this race. Rob Barber will be gutted about that one, though. Really gutted by that one with a little coming together with Orjan. But
Oh yeah, Orjan
again,
go for the move on Joseph Lopez there as well, trying to get his way down the straight, gets that slipstream off the back of that corner, goes side by side, and this is going to be the tricky bit. Who's going to back out and who's going to let the other one through on the kink on the back straight? I think they
has
just
Orjan
go.
got
Oh,
it? No, he's not letting. It's not letting him through. His old Casper Roos there. Oh,
that's Joseph on the inside.
Joseph,
Casper
sorry.
is behind him. Oh, what's happened to Joseph's car?
Oh, he just
Has he disconnected?
disappeared.
Oh, that's. Oh no,
Oh,
he's
that
still there.
was.
He's still there. I think his internet was lagging a little bit. Oh, that's going to scare the drivers around him. Hopefully, he get that sorted.
Tell you
Um,
what, though, that might have helped Orjan out there, because it looked like he was about to take him. Was Joseph Lopez there? That is definitely hope to see his connection stabilize up a little bit there, because that's put him now down behind Casper Roos and Denan Bronze, who are side by side at the moment as well.
Yeah, Dinan Bronze there. Him and Alex had a crazy race last week. They were fighting the entire time. Bit of purple on purple action, as we said. And
Purple on
again, this
purple
week,
action.
him and Casper and that group all battling together. I mean, he's getting his money's worth, isn't he?
No, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. He wants to enjoy his racing that he's got out there on a Sunday evening with the other guys. So may as well be racing someone the whole way around. Like I said, you're not really going to enjoy it too much if you're out there pootling along on your own for most of these races, are you?
No, you don't want to be on your own. You want to be catching up and having a good fight. Because I mean, that is the whole point. It's racing, isn't it?
No, absolutely, Jim. Now, something I like to do with the GT3s, Jim. I'm going to get you to doing the GR86s, mate. Shall we? Can we have a little on-board lap? Do you think with one of these drivers?
Yeah, I'll do a little run through with you guys, but at the start of the next lap we'll go on board with Jack here, and we'll see what's going on with him. And I mean, it is such like an amazing track, and I think it's difficult to appreciate the technicality of it when you're looking at it from afar. So we'll do an onboard just so you can see what the drivers are seeing, and what they have to go through per lap as Andrea gets so close up behind Jack there, looking to make a move on him, and he just can't quite get it to stick. Playing it sensible, sticking behind him, getting that slipstream, and then trying again on another lap. So we're going to go on board now, and we'll show you through what the lap entails. So the drivers are just coming down the start-finish straight here. So this is a really long straight right at the beginning of the track, and it allows the drivers to get a really good slipstream and then go side by side into that wide but quite carousel-like turn one, where you can see the amount of camber, and Andrea making a dive on the inside there as well. So then we come up sweeping huge right-hander, and we're going to go into this amazing what's called the S's, and it's this really windy section. There's a bit of height to it as well, and the drivers are just going side, like wiggling around these corners, get on that curb. The tighter the line, the faster you go through there because you're doing less driving overall. Then we come out of there onto this huge elevation up on the left-hand side, going as quick as you can and as you dare, tracking out wide using all the track without getting onto that gravel on the inside. And then one of the most awesome corners in racing. This amazing 90-degree right-hander, and you just watch that elevation drop. Huge curves, tracking out all wide, and he goes so far down, keeping all that speed as you go over that huge curve, tracking out wide, just missing that gravel on the left-hand side. And then we're coming up to the hairpin just now. That hairpin, this is where we saw that battle between the others earlier on, and you can just see that camber on the inside just pulls the car in, allows you to get on that throttle so much sooner. And then we're on to sort of a mini straight here, bit of a kink on the right-hand side. And then we're up to what I believe is Spoon Curve, and yeah, so it's almost like a straight in the back. It allows you to catch up right on the back of someone, and then this is Spoon Curve coming up here, big sweeping left-hander, and again the drivers are just getting on all these curves, using all the track possible to maintain that minimum speed coming through here, and then we're onto the back straight, and this is. It's just such a long straight, and this is where we'll see Jack here. You can see the slipstream, the car just gaining little by little by little by little, all the way down here. They're going to have to do a slight lift through the kink of the chicane, just so they don't track out wide with that understeer of this type of car. And you can see the revs just dipping a little bit on that on the dashboard there. And then we've got this amazing chicane at the end, getting all the curb on the inside, hit the curb again, just to get that shorter run through, back on the throttle as soon as you can. And then we're down to that final right-hander, sweeping round and on to that start-finish straight as well. So it is a very technical track for these drivers, lots of elevation, lots of curbing, lots of like close gravel to the outside, but it is such a good track for just catching up and racing and fighting with people.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy, it's still one of my absolute favourite moments of the evening, watching it on board with you, telling us how it all goes, mate. Absolutely bloody love it, I do. But no, we saw the move, couple of bits for you. We saw the move out there whilst we were on board. Andrea got himself up into P1 at the moment with Jack Veasley chasing him very close behind. Andrea, of course, finished in P3 in both of the events last week at the so he's definitely looking for an improvement out there tonight. At the moment, P1, 17 minutes down. There's not a lot of time left. There's not a lot of laps left to get this done at all if Jack Veasley wants to get himself back up there. But this is the first time we've seen Jack Veasley be challenged, really, with Harry Gaylor doing it last week, not here with us tonight. And now we've got Andrea Maglai, who's pushed him and he's got himself up into P1. I think it was just about 15 and a half minutes, 16 minutes on the clock when he got that move done. But another one for you, Jim, as well. The little incident we saw earlier with Rob Barber and Oyan, it was looked at by the marshals, and he has got himself a 5-second time penalty for causing that collision with Rob Barber out there on track, which put Rob down to P12, mate. So that one did come through as well whilst you were giving us all that lovely bit of knowledge from your brain.
So he's currently about 6 seconds in front of Robert Barber. So at this current position, he'll finish just behind Joseph Lopez. So he'll lose one position. So I think if Robert Barber needs to gain about a second and a half really to get the position off of Oyan there.
Don't think it's going to happen this race. There's not that much time left, Jimmy. Like you said, we're at 2 minutes 20 a lap. We've got just over 2.5 minutes, left to go. Well, a minute and a half left to go. I do apologise. I just don't think he's going to get himself back up there towards Joseph, or even to get himself back near towards Oyan at all, mate.
No, a minute and a half to go, like you said. So this is going to be the final lap of the race, a 9-lap race here. Such a huge track. We're going to see Jack Veazey going like looking to want to make the move on Andrea. If he doesn't get it done now, he's going to struggle to get it done for the rest of the race. But it still gives Andrea time to make it up on the back straight. He gets the move done, gets on that inside. The inside is so important around here. Andrea going off wide. Doesn't get a slow down penalty, but does he get back in front? I think he was able to just carry just a little bit of speed, but I think Jack Veazey's just got the inside here, and I think it's going to be interesting. Go side by side. I don't know who's going to come out the victor of this one. I mean, Jack's going to have the better line through the final corner going up through here, but then Andrea just getting ahead. Jack keeping his nose just on the inside there. Now this is where Jack's got the better line through here. And I believe he should just get his car just in front, although Andrea is
No,
carrying so much minimum speed around the outside. Who's going to carry? Who's going to basically? Who's the most confident going into that horrible like downhill left hand or
I
right hander? I say horrible just because it is treacherous around there, not because it's a terrible corner. It's such a fun corner, but
tell you what, Jimmy. Sorry, just not take anything away from Paul Brown, who's keeping himself right up in there with them as well. So if anything does go between Jack and Andrea at the end of this lap, Paul Brown might see himself sail through and get himself a nice little P1 there. You got Lee Martin just creeping up behind him as well, about a second, 1.2, 1.3 seconds behind the three of them at the moment. But it's a very tough one, and Jack Veazey has got himself back up into P1 now as we round out the rest of this lap, though, Jim.
yeah, I mean you can see how hard they were pushing. They were going so far almost off track that I'm surprised they didn't get a slow down penalty for that. Because I mean they are pushing those cars to the limit. Andrea's really going to want to make the move down here on the inner side, but don't forget, if they make a mistake, they've got two cars right behind them of Paul and Lee. So one little
Paul Brown
mistake
is
cost them
right there.
two positions at the minimum. So they've got to keep it sensible, but they've got to get those moves done. Paul Brown is going to want to get up there as well. Still a podium for all of them
There you go, Andrea's
if they
come
can
out.
make a stick. Andrea
Sorry,
on the
Andrea just
inside.
coming out to the side there, Jim, as though he's trying to get himself up the inside there. I don't think it's gone through. Jack Veazey's has made it stick, and he's got himself a better line coming up for the next corner here.
Yeah, coming out the chicane here. I think this is Jack's corner. He's not going to get any opportunity to slow down, and if he can keep that inside line, it's going to force Andrea to take the wider line around the outside and slow him down even more. And that is it. Little flash, little wiggle as they cross the line. That is Jack Veazey for the win. Andrea in second, Paul Brown in third, and Lee Martin in fourth. What a little gaggle of cars up at the front there. Rick
That
Wishon
was
just coming up behind with Alex Cubulus not far behind him. And that rounds out your top six in the pros. Now we're on to the AMs with Phil Giles getting P1 in the AMs for this first race of the evening. There is a second race coming up in 5 minutes' time, so stay tuned for that one. Followed by Dinan Bronze, Orjan Jassens behind him, and Josef Lopez for the top 10. Then we've got Casper Roost, the final pro, crossing the line there in 11th with Robert Barber in 12th, and John Johnson just coming around the final few corners, and that will be P13 there.
what a race right at the end there, Jimmy, that we had for P1 and P2 with Paul Brown and Lee Martin getting themselves involved right at the end of that race there. Because for a long while, it looked like Jack Veazey was just going to keep himself at the top of the board. He started in P1. He sat himself up there pretty much the entirety of the way around until we hit your on board at about 16 minutes. And Andrea came up through there, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting seeing. So the next race is going to be in reverse grid order. So John Johnson will be starting in first place with Robert Barber behind him, then Casper Roost, Joseph Lopez, Orjan Jassend, Dinan Bronze, Phil Giles, Alex Cubulus, Rick Wishon, Lee Martin, Paul Brown, Andrea Magli, and then we have Jack Veazey in starting in last place of the second race that will be starting in just 4 and a bit minutes time.
Jack
So this
Veazey do it again. Sorry. Because remember, Jim, he first last week, the Laguna Seca first race, started at the back of the pack last week and got himself up to P1 again. Are we going to see it again from him, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a hard one because we saw the cars gap out quite a lot, especially when they were fighting. They seem to lose so much time. So I think this is going to be a tough one for those because if you're trying to fight your way up through the field, you're just going to be slowing the people that you're fighting with down, and it allows anyone in front of them to just pull away bit by bit by bit. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. I mean, there's a lot of drivers there that like fighting side by side, and we saw last week as well some drivers playing it so tactically and carefully like was it Jack Veazey who was so careful with his overtakes? It was almost halfway through the race
Yeah,
before he started moving his way up through the field, and he finished in first place. But then he had
yeah. He got
it
them
was
done fairly
Harry in the
quickly.
second, wasn't it? Who got up to
Yep.
fourth in the first lap, and then he ended up in second by the end of it. And it's just it's a tough one to work your way through the field. But I think that's where the interest comes in, and that's what makes it so much more exciting. And it gives
See,
those who are further back, whether it was through incident or whatever, a chance at the podium for the next race.
that's exactly what I was about to say. Now, someone who we did see in that first race, who was fighting out quite a lot, especially with Phil Giles, Rob Barber, before he had his incident with Orjan, which got Orjan the 5 second, remember, as well. Now, we know he likes fighting. We know he's a good driver. Now, obviously, dropped him down to P12. He's going to be starting P2 in the next race. That's going to be sitting really nicely for him because he's a strong driver. So it's not going to be like how everyone would think. Like, obviously, the back of the pack's going to slow everybody down at the start of the second race or just getting everybody's way until they're all overtaken. It doesn't work like that. And with a driver like Rob Barber sitting in P2, at the start of his second race, Jim, he's going to make it very hard for some of these other drivers to indeed get past and get their positions back to finish as high up as they can before the end of the second race.
Yeah, there's definitely a skill element involved, and I think that's what makes it really exciting because it does jumble up the order, but then it also, like you mentioned, when someone has a mistake in that first race, it almost benefits them for for the second one because now they're so much further ahead than they would normally be.
No, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It's gonna be a really interesting one. We've got just over 2 minutes to go here before we do start that second race. 25 minutes long. Remember, guys, race 2 of 8. You're on board with us this season in the Tanzo Racing Group. Thank our sponsors again, Valhalla Liveries, and us here at Trackside Broadcasting, bringing it all together for you guys sitting at home. We had a very good first race. Chat, Jim, anybody else that wants to get involved, let me know. Who are we backing in the second race? Do you think Jack Veazey is going to come from last to first again? Do we think Rob Barber's going to get himself back up on the podium and make up for that little error in the first race? Let us know who you're backing again for this second race, guys. Jimmy, what are you thinking though for it? Who are you going to be looking at? Do you think?
Yeah, I just thinking about that, and obviously because at the end of the races as well, we like to do our driver of the day. And I keep in the back of my mind who are my contenders, and I'm thinking about the AMs this week of who I think is going to be my
So you,
contender
you're gonna you're
for it.
gonna take you're gonna take the AM driver of the day, are you, this week?
Yeah, I'll do that, and I've got an idea of who I think already. But Robert Barber, he was scrapping away. He was scrapping away. He had the pace. It was just one unfortunate incident. I'm backing him this week. He seemed to be really consistent to.
No, I get what you
Sorry,
mean. I get what you mean.
I've just seen a comment in the YouTube chat. I'll get to it in a second. But
Yeah, just seeing that as well.
yes, Oyan there backing himself for for a good for a good win
his
this next race.
his intent is to go 3 wide everywhere. Oh yeah, please do it actually because that would be very interesting to see what happens out on track, mate. But no, Jimmy, 5 minutes warm up is up. So we are going to be lining back up again. I believe is another rolling start as well for the second race. So unless I'm told any differently, they'll start to be lining up in a moment and we'll see the exact same thing again. We'll follow that safety car for half a lap and then we'll get racing when Mr. John Johnson, P12 in the last race there, P1 starting this race, gets onto that start finish line.
And yeah, you see what two color cars I see there, right in the middle, lining up next to each other.
Oh, the
Two people that
purples.
battled a lot in that first race weekend that we had last week.
Denan Bronze, and is that Alex Cubulus as well sitting there?
So just
Having a
quickly,
look.
we've
Scrapped
got
it last week.
Paul Brown. I believe we've got your son on here saying, "Can we win this one, or at least get on the podium again?" So I mean, yeah, he's definitely got the pace. And what I like about Paul is he seems to wait for the opportunities, doesn't he? Always skulking just behind those guys fighting at the very
Skulking.
front and just waiting
What
for a little mistake to happen and just getting his way in there.
I don't think there's many times, Jim, so you can get away with saying skulking in a positive way, but I do completely understand where you're coming from with Paul Brown there on that one, mate. But
Oh,
no, we'll
you
have
just
to
see
have
him
a
in the
look.
background constantly, don't you? Of just like you see the two leaders fighting there, and then you see Paul Brown in the background, and it's almost like a Jaws theme just
I
kind of
was just
going
about
off
to
in the
say
background.
Jaws
As
in the background. Da, 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 da. It's Paul Brown coming for you. But no, we started our little outlap now behind the safety car again. So remember, guys, we're going to follow it around. This guy's going to give themselves a little bit of a chance to get some kind of heat in the tires. Safety car will peel in, and then it is on John Johnson as soon as he hits that start line.
Yeah, you can see them sort of wiggling a little bit there, just getting that bit of heat in their tyres, just gives them that extra tiny little advantage on that first lap. Get that more confidence in the car because you've got more heat equals more grip on those early stages of the race.
I tell you, I spotted everybody wiggling there, apart from Dinand and Alex in the purple barrels. Them guys are, I think they're squaring each other up at the moment. See who's going to be leading the way between the two of them. Always
Yeah.
does make an interesting race between them two. We'll have to check in on those and see how they're getting on.
But yeah, there's a lot of scrappy people going on here. I mean, Joseph Lopez as well. Casper Ruud loves a good fight. I mean, all throughout the field, they love going side by side and having a good race. I like the different interest in different types of driving that we've got going on. So the race is now underway, almost going three wide. The people in the second and third getting that slightly better launch off the line than John Johnson. So they are taking it three wide, and the people behind them taking it three wide into turn one. A couple of them
Rob
backing
Barber.
out.
Sorry, that's Rob Barber taking himself down into P1, followed by Casper Roos, and then John Johnson. Looks like Orjan's just behind them, Jim, in P4 at the moment.
I think one thing interesting to note there, you can see right at the back, Jack giving himself a huge gap. I think he was anticipating almost a fight happening there, and someone potentially having an accident. He was giving himself such a big gap, so I think he's going to start closing in on those people any moment now. And then seeing Casper Roos there up in second, it's just like Robert Barber just getting away, but Casper just needs to get in that slipstream, stop worrying about the others around him. Already seeing Alex sticking his nose in on Danan there, just looking to get that move done, looking to get that fight. Danan just getting the better line through that first corner. Alex taking so
Going
much curve,
for it.
almost unsettling the car. And I think he does tap at the back of Danan coming out of that corner.
No, he definitely does there. It's put a little bit of a gap between the two of them now. Danan, is that Danan that's dropped off? No, sorry, that's I think that's Alex Hubris who's just dropped off a little bit for now. But looks like leading the way still Rob Barber, followed by Casper Roos with John Johnson in P3, Orjan in P4 at the moment. We'll get the leaderboard up for you in just a minute so we can see where absolutely everybody is. There you go. Phil Giles is sitting in P5 behind Orjan at the moment, followed by Rick Wishon, who's P6 on track, P2 for the pros at the moment. Most of the AMs leading the way at the moment. Phil Giles just makes a move on Orjan, so they swap around, and Rick goes through on Orjan as well. Orjan dropping down to P6, followed by Paul Brown in P7, Joseph Lopez in P8, Danan Bronze in P9, with Andrea Magli in P10, Alex Kubelis in P11, Lee Martin in P12, with Jack Veazey at the back of the pack for now, down in P13. So Rob Barber's had a really good start to the race there. He's got himself P2 up next to John Johnson with Casper Roos there as well, and managed to quite in P1 there. Jimmy's had a great start of the race and 8 tenths at the moment in front of Casper Roos. He's got himself a nice little bit of a gap there as well.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Brown's really working his way through the field as well. And then Andrea starting in second, now up into, well, finished in second of the last race, but now he's got, which would have put him in 12th, and now he's up to 10th already. Jack Veazey making the move on Lee Martin, starting to do that. Like we said, he's very precise in when and where he makes his moves done. He's not just so aggressive getting through the field. He knows he's got 25 minutes to get the race done, and he's just doing it little bit by little bit.
The thing is, if you know you're quick, like I'm sure Jack knows that he is, you don't just win 2 races on your first weekend with us, and you don't win the last race just by a fluke of it. We know he's quick. He surely knows he's quick. But with all the cars bunched up the way they are together at the moment, you could make the argument, yes, it's a great time to start your overtakes because everybody's close by. But at the same time, if everybody's zipping around and swapping positions at the minute in front of you, I'm not too sure I'd be going for those moves straight away. And I think Jack Veazey is, like you said, I think he's just going to bide his time a little bit. He's got 25 minutes to do it with only 3.5 minutes into the race so far, Jim. So I think you might be right on that one. If he's going to bide his time, just pick him off one by one, and we'll see how far he can get himself back up the grid. Because to do another weekend, the same as last weekend, if he goes P1 starting at the back and then goes P1 again in his second race, we know we've got a serious driver for the championship towards the end of this season on our hands.
Yeah, and it's one thing I love is just seeing the different styles of different drivers and how they handle these situations. I mean, Alex Kubelis, he loves a good scrap, he loves a good battle, and he's one that will force his way through the field, and he will fight anyone that goes to make a move on him. And we're going to see it here in a moment with Andrea looking to make the move on him, and he's just going to hold him off, hold them back, and it's just going to allow the people further ahead to just pull out more and more and more. But yeah, he loves getting his money's worth there. But then so far, Robert Barber as well. I mean, we talked about it before. If you give someone the opportunity to lead a race and they've got the skill to do it, they will do it. And he is just pulling away more and more and more.
Yeah, no, he is. He got very quick off the line there, like I said at the start, to get up next to John Johnson pretty much immediately. Like I said, Casper Bruce did join him as well. Oh, a little bit wide out there from Denan Bronze. He's took that corner a little bit too quick. But no, he got himself up there really, really quick. Had a brilliant start as soon as they've hit the line, and rocketed himself up into P1. And look, we're at 1.3 second gap now to Casper Roos, who we knows no slow guy either. He's not going to be messing around out on track. Casper's a great guy to chat to, by the way, as well. Absolute laugh. But behind the wheel of a car, he's as serious as they come. So no, it'd be quite interesting to see how we go with this one. But no, just to recap, 5 minutes into this race, Rob Barber is leading the way at P1 at the moment. P1 in the AMS. Casper Roos behind him in P2 on track. P1 for the pros. Phil Giles sitting P3 on track. P2 for the AMS at the moment. With Paul Brown in P2 for the AMS. P4 out on track. With P5 being Rich Whitson. P3 for the pros. Oyand, last podium spot down in P6 at the moment, P3 for the AMS at the minute, followed by Andrea, who's made up some serious moves there. John Johnson down in P8 with Jack Veazey up to P9 as well now. Joseph Lopez in P10 with Lee Martin P11, Alex Cubas down in P12 at the moment, next to his purple friend Denand Bronze. So them two are going to be fighting in a minute, definitely. But no, it should be a really good one, and they're lined up that way to start it. At the moment, we're seeing Andrea and Jack Veazey move through the pack. They've gone from 13th and 12th. They're now, like I said, they're pushing up P7 for Andrea, Jack Veazey up to P9 at the minute. So there's still plenty of time left to go. They got just under 20 minutes left, so pretty much the entirety of what race they had last event as well. Jack Veazey making another move, going up to P8 at the moment. So he's picking off those cars one by one by one. And no, it should be a good one. We've got a little bit of a fight at the top of the board at the minute. Paul Brown and Phil Giles. Oh, a little bit of an issue there. Paul Brown being took wide, looked like by Rick Wishon and Phil Giles. But Phil Giles has snuck himself through and got himself up to P3 for the moment. We'll see what happened there possibly in a moment if it impacted them too much. But no, let's go
Yeah.
on. Actually, yeah, let's have another look at that right now. What do you see there, Jim?
Yeah, so it looks like he's just trying to push him, get that little bit more speed. But I think yeah, because he's pushing him right at the part where you're going to be lifting off because of the way that the kink works. There isn't as much downforce on these cars, so they haven't got as much grip going through there. So they do have to do a little bit of a lift, maybe a little bit of a tap of the brakes to get the car rotated around that little curve. And I believe it didn't anticipate him,
No, I didn't
sort of just slowing
anticipate
it
him
as
at
much as he
all.
did. Yeah, and it's just a tough situation.
No, it really is, especially when you are, well, like Oyan said at the start in the comments, he's going to drive you free ride with people. They were essentially three of them in about a 1.5 car proximity from each other. There wasn't a lot of space for any of them there. So with that little earlier break there by Paul Brown, what looked like it has just caused that little bit of an issue for him and Rick, and it's allowed Phil to get himself through. There's not much of a gap there now between Paul and Phil, so he didn't capitalize on it too much like I thought he might. But just about half a second in it at the moment. I saw Paul's got to catch back up on Phil to let him and Rick back into the fight there for P3 today.
Yeah, Paul Brown, they're getting a really nice run on the inside. He's going to have the inside line coming through here, and he's going to have the better run coming out of it. that
Just not
inside
going to let
line
Rick
seems to
in.
be able to carry so much more speed, but that outside line as well seems to be working really well for some drivers, and I think they're struggling. They're fighting it so close to each other. I think there's door banging a bit too much, slowing each
It's
other
Rick
down, and
Wishon.
allows. Yeah, and I
Sorry,
think that's.
today it's Rick Wishon getting himself into the mix as well. Here he seems to follow the line of Paul Brown in front of him, who did flip through past Phil Giles a second ago, and it looks like he's trying to do exactly the same. Is there too much door banging though there for you, Jim?
I wouldn't say too much. I mean, they were holding their lines fairly still. I mean, you're going to get a little bit of door banging, but it's not going to. No one got harmed by it, so I would say it's a bit of a non-issue if you were to complain about that. But what it has done though is it allowed Paul to get that lead position of the group, because although they had the more speed, that door banging you could physically see it slowing them down as they were trying to carry that speed around that curve there, and still going
Definitely, and
side by side.
they're
Oh,
still fighting, and they're still allowing Paul Brown to get himself a nice little bit of a lead. He's got himself just over a second now to them who are fighting behind him, Phil Giles and Rick Wishon there. So Paul Brown's going to be quite happy with the outcome of all that one there. He got himself a nice little overtake. We've got Casper Russo leading the way at the minute with Rob Barber. So that move must have happened while we were looking at the scrapping between the three behind them. Still going for it at the moment with Andrea getting himself now into the mix, bringing Jack Veazey along with him. Them guys are really
but look at
in
that
less
though,
than
almost
10
a
minutes.
double overtake.
In
That is
less than 10 minutes, they've got themselves up a fair few spots there.
Oh, but they get back ahead. Jack Veazey now taking advantage of the fact that he got slowed down from I think it was Phil just getting just in front of him there, and yeah, that
So yeah,
allows
that
Jack
but
Veazey
yeah,
to get that lead position kind of between the two of those drivers, and they still got to work their way up through the field. All they've got now is Rick, Paul, and Casper to go. Casper though driving away like nobody's business for fighting with Robert Barber, but for the pros.
them guys are going absolutely at it together. Every time we pan to them, there's a different one of them out in front there.
Oh, look at the door
Look at
banging
that
going on there.
between Rick and Phil there. Rick gets himself just ahead at the minute there, but that was pushing him right out wide.
It seems to be the people with the same coloured cars are really getting a bit aggro with each other.
We saw
And
purple on purple last week. We've seen green on green this week.
what's really interesting is that line that Phil seems to be taking at that corner seems to be so. He seems to go so deep, like, and almost so far past that it's breaking a turning point. But the speed he gets coming out of it really allows him to catch up later on down the straight. It's such an odd line, but it's really interesting to see how he's taken
Yeah,
it. Jack Veazey though just getting along on the inside, barely a hair's width between the two drivers as he gets through there. But now he's got the slipstream from the car in front, should allow him to get further ahead of Phil and get that move done. I mean, there's 20 thousandths of a second between the front noses of those cars, absolutely nothing. Carries all that speed. They take so much curb when they're on that inside, really trying to avoid the other drivers, and he is
there
just
you
ahead.
go.
But they slowed him
Jack
down
and
so.
Andrea.
Oh, what's happened up here?
Is that Paul?
Is
Is
that,
that Phil Brown? Paul Brown,
that's Paul
sorry.
Brown, yeah. We've had
Oh, Paul
a
Brown. What has gone on here?
so
He was doing really well there for himself. Let's find out what happened. So he's driving on his own, a little bit wobbly.
oh,
Oh,
it's
he's
that curb.
wobbling.
He
Is
bottomed out
he
on the curb and it's just absolutely lost the car. I do quite like his helmet though, the little
spat
basketball.
him right. It's a good helmet. No, it's absolutely spat him out of that curve. That's well in on him as well for getting out of the way of the other cars there behind him. That is really unfortunate for Paul Brown. Again, someone else doing a really great bit of racing this race, Jim. They've had a little bit of an incident on track, and there's no one else to blame there apart from well himself on that one.
Yeah, I mean it is a hard one. I think he was just trying to carry that like that bit of extra speed that he needed to be faster, and yeah, he just got too much curb. I've not seen that before. That's a really odd place to kind of bottom out on the cars, but
He just saw he was going across the curb, and all of a sudden his car started shaking and absolutely spat him out across the track. And he's got all the way to the left hand side, all the way to the right hand side, and back all the way across to the left hand side before he's got himself pulled over before anyone else is coming through. Luckily, not tagging anybody else along the way. Kind of good thing he did get himself that second 1.2, 1.3 lead between the cars behind him as well. No, but that has changed up leaderboards a little bit. Rob Barber still leading the way at the minute. P1 overall and P1 for the AMs, followed by Casper Roos, P2 on track, P1 in the pros at the minute, followed by Rick Wishon now up to P2 for the pros, P3 on track. Jack Veazey and Andrea fighting their way up there. Jack Veazey's now up to a P3 with Andrea just behind him. Rick drops down to P5 though, so a nice little double move there from the pair of them on Rick to get himself back to top of the leaderboard. Couple of seconds there for Jack Veazey now to catch up on Casper Roost. Sorry, behind Rick Wishon in P5, we've got Phil Giles in P6 with Orjan Yazan in P7, Lee Martin in P8, Denan Bronze down in P9 with Joseph Lopez P10, and rounding it off at the back of the pack is John Johnson. We have lost Paul Brown and Alex Cubulus.
I think he just sped in the pit lane on the exit and he got himself a penalty. Yeah, you can see him going too quick there. Slams on the brakes a bit too late, trying to get that speed, and then he just retires the car. That's such a shame to see. He was having a really, really good second race up until that point. That's so disappointing. Oh,
Is that
little,
Denan?
that was Orjan and Fernando looked like just a little door bang. Almost sent him into the pits there. Let's see what's happening here. Carrying that speed
Was
down
there
the middle.
anything in it, or was it a bit of 50-50 there, do we think? 'Cause I nearly shoved Denan straight down the pit lane.
I think, yeah, he just didn't quite leave him enough space. Oh no, he's fine.
No, they're all right. They're all right. They're all right. Denan track's a little bit wide. Oh, I
I think
loses the
that's,
back end. It touches the
yeah,
gravel by the look of it.
he went off, and yeah, that is so bumpy off that bit of the track. That curbing is just not meant to
Yeah,
be driven on.
he definitely took a bit of that gravel back onto the track with him. I saw the spray come out from the behind the car when he did join back on for a second. It just shows you how unsettled these cars can get for a track like this. Like tiny little bumps will absolutely chew you up and spit you out wherever it feels necessary.
Yeah, and you can actually see as well. There's a lot of dust on track. You'll see if we do a wide shot down the start finish straight as well. There's a lot of dust down there, and that can just upsettle upsettle the cars a little bit with just that little lack of grip just when you're a bit slippy on that dust. So. Oh, that's
No, it
always
was something that
getting
someone asked us once in our GT3s, wasn't it? Does that kind of stuff actually affect them out on track? And it definitely does, because you can see the impact it has on some of these drivers. I'd say if another driver's a little bit sketchy coming around that corner in a moment where all that gravel's just been sprayed out, we might see someone else taking a little bit of a spin. You've got to be so careful around these tracks, like they are, especially when they're so fast, like this one is. But they're so technical, twisty, windy, up and down with the elevation. You've just got to be so careful, especially when you're racing against other guys out here. If you look at these sitting here in a 5 in the train at the moment, Jim, one wrong move from one of these guys could go very, very wrong for everybody.
There you go. Got a little message from Paul there. Absolutely soul destroying. That curb has caught me a few times. Adrenaline had me pushing just that little bit too much. Then lack of pit limiter made me look a little bit silly. Yeah, it's so easily done, that pit limiter thing. I think it catches so many people out over the years. It's yeah, it's a tough one.
No, it is indeed. It is indeed. That is gutting for him. But don't call yourself a novice, mate. You're doing really, really well out there.
Yeah, we got
But
Jack up into first as well. First place in the pros, first place overall. I mean, it was a matter of time. Andrea not far behind him, really sticking to him this entire race. And I gotta say though, Robert Barber, Phil Giles, really having a good battle up there. I mean,
no, they've
yeah.
been scrapping pretty much. No, I know what you're kind
I
of
was
trying to
not
say there,
trying
Jim.
to describe just how well
No,
like everyone's been doing, and it's yeah, it's like it's such a technical track, and it's just amazing how just these little incidences can really just throw off the field like so quickly. Because like Jack, literally a lap ago was down in like 5th place, and then one little incident allows him to just kind of work his way up through the field and then just get that first place now. And then Andrea battling with Casper Ruud, trying to find that little gap, just getting his nose on the inside. Can he get it done through the hairpin? Breaks as late as he can, a little bit later than Casper. Turns
has
in,
he
turns
got
in
it?
sharp. Casper gets that outside line, and
No,
then
there
he's
you go.
just
He's got it. Absolutely got it there. Brilliant little drive there from Andrea, Jim, just as you were calling it there. Got himself nicely up on the inside of Casper Roost. Took him beautifully on the inside as he's come round, and there you go. Got himself back up into P2, familiar position behind Jack Veazey, just like they were in the first race at around about this point. But can Andrea close down that second gap to Jack Veazey now, Jim, and try and do something about it?
So we're just getting no. Casper is an AM actually, so he is currently first place in the AMs. It's just a mistake on the leaderboard right there. So yeah, just to call it quickly, Jack Veazey in first, Andrea in second, and Rick Wishon in third. That is the top in the pros at the moment, with Phil Giles leading the AMs, with Casper in second, and Rob Barber in third.
There you go. Casper Roos dropped down a few spots there now, Jim. He's gone from top of the board, second. He's now dropped himself down to fifth. Rick Wishon and Phil Giles just getting the move done there while you just recapping their spots there. What has happened to Casper Roos here? Because he just seems to have lost all kind of pace at the moment.
I don't think it's necessarily pace, but he's just getting caught up in these fights. He got held up a lot by Jack making the move on him earlier on. Then he had Andrea making the move on him, which held him up just enough that it allowed Phil and Rick to just get their cars in there and battle him again, and it just slows him down more and more. I think he's just wrong place, wrong time all throughout that lap.
No, I think you may be right there, Jimmy, on that one. It's just weird. Like I said earlier, Casper, great guy, and he's serious as they come when he's sat behind one of those wheels. I don't expect to see him drop 2-3 spots in that short amount of time. Really, he's done himself quite proud for the first 20 minutes of this race, keeping up their P1, P2 with Rob Barber when they were at the start of this race. But no, he's dropped down P5 at the moment, but he is chasing down Phil Giles in front of him. He's got Rick Wishon just in front of him, so anything could happen between these three. There's still obviously Lee Martin in the mix. There's still Rob Barber you can see, and Orjan and Josef as they come around the corner at the back of your image screen a moment ago. So they're still quite close to Casper Roos making a move at the left there, was he? I think he just had to back out of that one a little bit. It looked like he was about to tag the back of Phil Giles there as they went around that corner, around that hairpin.
Now, once again, he's under fire from another driver. Lee Martin is going to want to make the move on him, and it's just slowing him down more and more and more. And it's just letting Phil just drive away in that AM division, and then it's just giving him the win where he's just stuck battling with other people. Robert Barber as well, sort of working his way back up through the fight as well, catching up a bit more because of this fight. Lee is going to catch up to him very soon, and he's going to start battling with him, and it might give Robert the chance to get back through.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Another person looking to gain a position is Josef Lopez that you can see here in the green and yellow, chasing down Orjan in the white and just in front of him, with Denan Bronze just behind them, just over a second behind them as well at the minute. So Josef's trying to think about a move by the look of it. He keeps pushing his nose out to the side, letting him know that he's there, and he's probably going to try and make a move in a second. There's not much in it. It's less than half a second between them for the last lap or so.
So as we're coming up to about 3.5 minutes left of the race, who would you say is your driver of the day? And this goes to anyone that's in the YouTube chat as well. If you have a particular driver who you think's performed exceptionally this weekend, then give them a little shout out in the YouTube chat. But yeah, Gaz, who's your driver of the day?
So I'm going to go with the pro. I'm going to pick a pro one here, Jim. You're going to sit with the AM. I didn't give it to him in the pros last week because it was kind of the cliche thing to do. But I'm going to give it to him this week because he's just proved it really how good he is. I'm going to give it to Jack Veazey, mate. He done exactly what he's done this week that he did last week. He won in the first race, started at the back for the second race, and got himself all the way through well before the end of the second race, back up to P1. He's done it again this week with such ease and such confidence, mate. That is who my pro driver of the day is for today. What about you, though, mate? Who are you thinking down in the AMs?
I talked about him a lot this weekend, and he has just, I think he's performed so much better this week than we've seen him in previous races, and it's just great to see. And it's got to be Robert Barber for me.
Barber,
I
good
think
choice.
he's just been consistently quick, getting on those podiums, and he's got great pace, and he's just great battling as well. Like everything he's done has just been to an exceptional standard this weekend for me.
No, he's done really, really well. Rob Barber has this week, mate. He was really unfortunate to get in that little incident with Orjan in the first race and deny himself a podium spot, because I do think he would have been possibly up there in P3. I think it was where Orjan did end up taking that P3 position, even with that 5 second penalty. But no, I have to agree with you, mate. I think out and out drive this week from the AMs, it has to be Rob Barber. I think he's sitting P2, no P3 at the moment.
P3 at the moment. He's got Casper
So
just in
yeah,
front of him, P2, and then Phil Giles in P1.
Yeah, so he's
And
doing. There you go. Casper is dropping down behind Lee Martin now, still in P2 and P3 respectively for Rob Barber. But no, mate, I have to agree. I think he's had a brilliant drive today. Again, barring that slight little incident, which wasn't really his fault. He's had a great drive, got himself back up there. He did lead for a little bit of this second race as well. So he had a great race at the start of this one. Obviously, it's dropped off a little bit, which I'm not going to lie, and I know you won't mind me saying this, but when you've got really quick drivers like your Jack V's out there and your Andreas out there, you've got to kind of be expectant to be come up on those guys at some point, especially in the class above you. But he's done absolutely brilliantly today, mate. And I think if he gets himself a podium spot here for this race, it's a good one for him.
yeah, I think whatever result he gets, he should be proud of the weekend he's had, and so should the rest of them. I mean, even Alex and Paul, I know they're out of the race at the moment, but the moves they were making, the battles they were having, the drives they were having, I think everyone should be very happy with how they performed this weekend.
Just wondering, I'm not sure if I missed it at that point, Jim, but do you remember why we lost Alex Cubulus? I remember obviously how we lost Paul Brown, but I can't really remember Cubulus. I remember him dropping off from Denand at one point, but I'm not too sure if I remember exactly why he dropped out in the end.
I think,
Oh, but there
oh,
you go. Black
Phil
flag
and
though.
Rick, black
There you
flags
go.
at the same time. That's going to be huge on the
L-
last lap
l-
as well, having to serve a penalty. That's going to put Casper Roost onto the win and Robert Barber as well getting to P2, and that'll put Lee Martin up into the P3 as well. Massive change of results there.
that is absolutely huge. We'll try and find out exactly why they got both of those drivers got those black flags on the last lap here.
I think we
But
might know
that
why they got those black flags. The door banging, the battling they've been having this entire race, which I'm sure they probably still haven't given up on.
You
I
think
would,
it finally accumulated up to those 20 penalty points there, do you, Jim?
yeah, and I mean, so we're just saying now, Jack Veazey coming up. Yeah,
Yeah,
instant limit reach. They were just tapping each other a little bit too much. But yeah, Jack Veazey and Andrea flashing him a little bit there. I think he's signaling to him that this might be Jack's win here. You never know. Jack could make a mistake, but I doubt he will. Last chicane, then he's got a right-hander after this. Same with Andrea. And as long as they can keep it cool, calm, and collected, they have got this underway and they've got their podium position sorted. That's Jack. There we go. Last little bend, flat out from here. Seeing a little wiggle from him. And that is P1 from Jack. Little wiggle, little flash from Andrea as well. And that is big wiggles. They are very
that
happy
is
with those results this evening.
absolutely brilliant drive from the pair of them there. Lee Martin coming over the line to take the P3, the last podium spot of the day, with Rick Wishon. Well, with that black flag, no, it'll be Casper Roost up into a P4 now at that point, with Rob Barber coming up in P5, P2, and P1 for the pair of AMs there. So it's a great drive. I think it does definitely back up your driver of the day there for him, mate. But no, coming over the line as well, you got Phil Giles, Denan Brons down in P8, with Oyan Yazan in P9, Joseph Lopez in P10, with John Johnson rounding out the back of the pack. Couple of corners left to go down in P11 for today. So we'll wait for John to come over the line. We'll get your final standing board up there as well to confirm where everybody finished today. But that has been a great race today, Jimmy. I really did enjoy that one.
Yeah, I mean, some people like really putting on a spectacle for us there. Some great drives overall. And to see when John crosses the line, we'll see where the final standing boards is and see where everyone's come results wise. So yeah, so it looks like Rick down to P4. And then where did Phil come out? P3 in the AMs.
There you go.
But yeah, let's take a look at the timing board now. Yeah, that was awesome. It's
Uh,
such a fun track, and yeah. So, Gaz, we'd like to take away the end results.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So, driver winning the race overall. Won the first one, won the second one. P1, Jack Veazey. Well done, my mate. There. Followed by Andrea Maglai in P2, with Lee Martin rounding out your last of the podium spots there for the pros in P3. Casper Roos taking P1 for the AMs down in P4, with Rob Barber in P2 and Denan Bonds in P3, P5 and P6 on track respectively. Followed by Oyand Yazand in P7, Joseph Lopez in P8, Rich Wishon dropping down to P9 with that black flag, along with Phil Giles down in P10. John Johnson finishing the last car out on track in P11, and we had Paul Brown and Alex Cubulus leaving us early for that one as well in 12th and 13th. What a brilliant race, though, Jim! Absolutely brilliant race. I looking forward to hearing from a couple of these drivers after that one, mate, because they were two really good races, to be fair. Really good, clean, fair, hard driving, both races.
Yeah, I'm expecting to hear some excited voices going on in that interview. I mean, yeah, that black flag right on the last lap, just from the innocent limit. Both of them, both a pro and an am, dropping down the results, changing up the whole board on the last lap. Just absolute craziness there, and I think they won't be happy about it. But I mean, uh, let's hope they at least enjoyed that 25-minute scrap that they had. That was something to
No,
behold.
no, absolutely, mate, absolutely. And there's a couple of drivers waiting to speak to us at the moment, see if we get any more. But I'm going to bring in the first one already, mate. I'm going to bring in our P2 from the pros first. I'm going to bring in Andrea with us straight to start off with. Andrea, good evening, sir. Well done on that P2 in both races tonight, mate. How you doing? How you feeling?
Good evening, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sweating like hell. That was some racing with Jack. Very very close racing. Very fair, respectful. Yeah.
No,
Pretty pleased with that.
you done really really well, mate. You watching you and Jack in the first race, little bit between the two of you. You got yourself up ahead of him with about 5 minutes left to go of that one. Thought you might just stick it out, but he got himself back out there just ahead of you, very very closely towards the end. And that second race,
Yeah,
mate, the
exactly.
pair of you from P11, sorry, P12 up to P2, mate. You absolutely phenomenal driving that second race again. The pair of you just at the top of the board there, just done absolutely brilliantly, mate. Just couldn't quite get past him though on that second race, could you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end, I've seen that he had a little bit more pace than me, but yeah, I felt that the clock was short. I would have loved to have one or two more laps, but yeah, it was really really tough to get through the traffic. Not that easy as it was in Laguna Seca.
No, definitely, mate, definitely. So what we'll do, mate, is we'll let you go though. We'll let you have a nice chill out, especially if you're all hot and sweaty, mate. Go get yourself a nice cold drink. But before we let you go, mate, anyone you want to say thank you to or give a shout out to?
Yeah, I would like to give a shout out to my sister. I wanted to do it last time. I wasn't sure if she was listening, but she told she was. So I'm really grateful. And to you guys once again for putting it all together, and for the stewards. I have a little chat to have with them.
Nah,
I've been called to the stewards room.
well, we'll let you go
But,
and have that chat with them, mate. But no, it's good to speak to you, mate, and we'll see you again next week.
yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Bye bye.
See you later, mate. See you later.
See you.
I do like talking to Andrea there, Jim. I really do.
Yeah, he's got a lot of energy.
He's a great laugh, isn't he, mate? He's a great laugh. But I can see him sitting there waiting to speak to us now. Shall we get our overall P1 in both races today? Shall we bring in a Mr. Jack Veazey?
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Quick then.
Jack Veazey, quick then, mate. Quick then. We'll only keep you for a few minutes, mate. How you doing? Congratulations on your P1s again tonight, mate.
Cheers, yeah. Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing very well, mate. Doing very well. Jim, you're all good still, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still good.
Just checking in after that one, mate. But no, well done, mate. You absolutely smashed it again this weekend. I think someone called it in the comments last week at Laguna Seca. You're a bit of a cheat code. It seems that you are a little bit of a cheat code, mate, because you've done a P1 starting at the back and P1 again in your second race 2 weeks running, mate. That is a brilliant drive from you both weeks going there. But how'd you do it, mate? Are you an actual cheat code?
Loads of practice and yeah, loads of practice. But today was a little trickier working through the pack. At one point, I thought maybe I won't catch the leaders, but yeah, managed to get my way through the traffic. There was a few squirrely moments where I nearly got caught up in a few.
Yeah, yeah, I was just gonna say, mate, we saw it with you last week. You bide your time a little bit when you're making your way back through on that second race, and you did it this week. And again, just slowly after about 6-7 minutes, I think you got bored of sitting at the back, and you just started to pick them off one by one by one. And You just seem
Yeah.
to do it, mate, so effortlessly and flawlessly, mate. So no, well done on that one, mate. But what we'll do is we'll let you go. But before you do go, mate, anyone you want to say thank you to or give a shout out to?
Yeah, just shout out to any friends and family that are watching, and you guys for the commentary.
Ah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, we'll let you go, mate, and we'll probably catch up with you next week. I would imagine if you continue to drive like this again.
All right, cheers, guys.
See you later, mate.
Cheers. See ya.
There you go. Good to hear from our P1 there over the week. I don't think we got to speak to him last week, Jimmy. So no, always good to hear from our overall race winner. We've got a couple more, mate. Shall we speak to? Shall we? I'll tell you what. I know who we'll speak to. Great guy that I do like speaking to every single week that I can. Shall we bring in Casper Roos, our
Yeah,
AM
let's
winner for
bring
the
him in.
day? Casper Roos, good evening. Welcome. Always a pleasure to have you in here, mate. P1 today for your second race for the AMs. How you doing?
Oh, I'm just happy to be here. Happy as can be for because it's the first race I've ever won in this series, so it's just amazing.
No, mate. Well, you had a really, really good one there. You were leading the way as well for a little bit, right at the top of the pack there for that second race, mate. But no, you had an absolute blinding race today, mate. You started off really, really strongly as well for the start of that second race. I think we called it initially with you, Rob Barker, and John Johnson. You got side by side pretty much within about 10 yards of the start of the race.
Yeah, I was really lucky to get a better run than John, and I figured because the first race didn't exactly go my way, I haven't had a lot of practice, which wasn't great. And I just figured, you know what, I'm gonna be battling or dealing with pros at some point anyways. I might as well try and go for it now. So I'm just happy it worked out.
No, it was a really good one, mate. You had some real good battles going along around there, especially with Rob Barber at the start of the race, and then towards the end as well, mate. While you were keeping hold of that P1 as well, he was closing you down quite quickly there, and you managed to keep your spot. So, no, well done, mate, on a great race this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So we'll let you go, mate. But before we do, anyone you want to say thank you to or give a shout out to before we do?
Yeah, just any friends and family watching, and especially my dear friend Casper, who's helped out a lot the last few days.
No, there you go, my mate. There you go. Well, always good to speak to you, Casper, mate. And you never know, we could be speaking to you again next week.
I'm hoping to.
All right, then, mate. You have a good one, and we'll catch you later.
You too.
See you later, mate. So, have we got one more, Jim? Do I see there sitting in the chat?
I think we've got one waiting. We'll give it a moment, and we'll see what's happening. Here, give it a few seconds. There we go. There we go.
So here he is, Mr. Lee Martin. Good evening, mate. P3 in that second race. How are you doing, mate?
Good evening, gentlemen. Great race, fantastic run, and what a great car track combo this is.
No, it's a brilliant track, is Suzuka, isn't it? We were saying before the race how much we love it, mate. Just to watch, so it's even better when you get to drive out on it. How'd you feel on that one tonight?
Oh, absolutely loved it. Great to be in a lobby with such great, clean drivers. A little bit of patience went a long way, it looks like, in this one.
No, mate, we said exactly that as well about just before the start of the second race, how nice it is to actually see some real good, hard, clean, fair driving from everybody. You get as many people to start the race and just about as much finishing it, mate. So it's always a good one. But no, mate, P3 in that second race. So you've done yourself really, really well today. Any issues, any problems out there that you may feel have hindered you?
I think, if anything, I got a little lucky towards the end. Looks like someone might have gotten a black flag and didn't mind taking advantage of it. But that start, I figured it was chaos. It was 2 or 3 wide for at least half the first lap. I figured best thing I could do was hang back and hope for the best.
No, definitely, mate, definitely. There was a couple of black flags, like you said, just towards the end. Phil Giles and Rick Wishon, so that did massively impact them on that lap, bud. But no, not to take anything away from yourself, mate. You did a really, really good, strong race there, mate. And like you just said a minute ago, real clean, real fair, and real hard driving from you. So well done again on that one, my mate. But what we're going to do, mate, we're going to let you go. But before you do, anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to before we let you go?
First of all, you guys, great broadcast. Really enjoyed watching it back last week. And I thank Connor for hosting this whole thing. Again, it's the quality of racing is dependent on the people and the marshalling, and they've really just done an amazing job. Thank you all.
Thank you. I'm sure Connor will appreciate hearing that one, my mate. But no, we'll let you go, mate. You go chill out, have a good week, and we'll hopefully see you next weekend.
Hope so as well. Have a great week, gents.
See you later, sir. Jimmy, that was a fantastic race. Suzuka always delivers, and I think it's delivered again today. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah, good, really good, solid group of drivers in this league.
No, again, I'm just going to reiterate on it. It's really good to see when you've got a really, really good group of drivers like this who aren't going to cause anyone any problems. And like again, I'm going to say it one more time: clean, hard, fair driving. It's something I love to see, and it's something that we get here in the Tanzo Racing Group. But Jimmy, that is it. That is the checkered flag from us here at Suzuka tonight, mate, and checkered flag from us here at Trackside. So before I let you call us out, mate, I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching along with us at home and being with us here again tonight. But Jimmy, any final words?
Yeah, so thank you, Gaz. Yeah, we've been treated to another absolutely quality race this evening. So that is it from Suzuka. Next week, we're headed over to England for, well, not England, heading over to America for the Watkins Glen Cup track. So, but before we sign off, I just want to thank everyone in the Tanzo Racing Group for hosting us. And thank you all at home again for being here, supporting your favourite drivers. It means a lot to everyone. And yeah, hope everyone has a great rest of their evening, and we'll catch you on the next one.